Hello, everyone. This is the Crimson Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen.
Hey y'all, Donnie Keith here, aka Auntie Peaches from the Aunties Radio Show, also on The Voice of Reason. I'm here to say that ever since my man started taking A game, he's been on top of his A game. What? When I say A game, I mean his A game. He's more focused. He's definitely working out more. His attitude is better. And he's not complaining of all over body aches due to poor blood circulation, because A-Game provides great blood circulation, if you know what I mean, ladies. That blood circulation. Sometimes I have to hide the A-Game in the bushes when I'm out walking the dog just because I want some sleep. If you know what I mean, ladies. Stay on top of your A-Game, fellas. Get your A-Game.
Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I am, of course, your host, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about Dr. Dre and being ordered to pay just about $300,000 a month to his ex-wife, Nicole, and we're going to read a little bit of an article that's really got a lot of tweets that are really going to reveal how people think about stuff like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to read through, and then I'm going to come back with my commentary. All right. So let's see. This says, Dr. Dre ordered to pay ex-wife $300,000 per month, malnourished wallets, and Twitter's complaint. Dr. Dre has amassed considerable wealth over the past 3 decades as both a producer, rapper, label chief, and tech boss. On Twitter, the popular figure is the topic of discussion after news that he was ordered by a judge to pay his ex-wife $300,000 monthly for the rest of her life or until she enters a domestic partnership. According to documents reviewed by reporters at Radar Online, a LA Superior Court judge told the artist-born Nicole Young to pay $293,306 per month to his ex-wife. The arrangement is temporary in nature until a final decision from the court is made. Dre is ordered to pay to Nicole spousal support in the sum of $293,306 per month, payable on the first of each month commencing August 1st, 2021. Reads a portion of the court document. In all, Dre will pay $3,519,672 annually until his ex-wife remarries or is involved with someone else long enough that would trigger a domestic partnership ruling. In addition, Dre will continue paying his ex-wife's health insurance, and there is still some haggling going on over a prenuptial agreement that was signed, but the former Mrs. Young claims that Dre dissolved the agreement early in their marriage. The pair were married for 24 years and are the parents of 2 adult children. In the court papers, Dre's ex-wife said that their living expenses equal $2.3 million per month and that her husband was sitting on $262 million in cash and Apple stock. Some might recall that Dre earned about $1 billion as part of his Beats by Dre and his music sales, along with production credit and royalties. On Twitter, folks are discussing the matter, and the sensible among them, that's what this says. The sensible among them realize Dr. Dre can afford this, considering he's worth $820 million. Check out the reactions below. Why they gotta be sensible to realize he can afford it? And is it really about him affording it, or is it about it being stupid? Okay, let's continue. So some of these tweets. Lawyer, you've been ordered to pay $3 million a year for spousal support until she remarries or dies. Say, can you repeat that last part? Some of these are memes, but I'm gonna get to some of the other ones. Dr. Dre's yearly income is $35 million without spikes for business deals. The $3 million he pays to the mother of his children isn't the burden the think pieces tomorrow will indicate. Context is always important. Dr. Dre's divorce settlement got dudes working at Safeway talking about, see, this is why marriage is a scam. Why ever get married? Like, you make $350 a week before taxes. This is never going to be a problem. You have. Dr. Dre got to pay $3 million a year to somebody he despises. Always amazed at the amount of haters that demonize women for getting $1 million spousal support or child support. Dr. Dre's net worth is $820 million. Nicole Young is not taking all of his money. Dr. Dre running from that $300,000 spousal support a month. Okay. So some of these are memes. I'm not going to go over the memes. Dr. Dre's wife telling every man she meets she's not interested so she can keep her $300,000 a month spousal support checks coming. Exactly. Dr. Dre having to pay his ex-wife $3 million until she remarries or dies is insane. People saying he can afford it. Bruh, imagine y'all paying someone you despise every year until they die. If I hate you, $3 is too much. Exactly. So Dr. Dre has to pay his ex-wife $300,000 a month or $3 million a year until she either passes away or remarries another man. This life has no balance at all. Okay. Now, let's deal with the obvious. The exorbitant amount of alimony and then the stupid conditions under which the alimony is done is a trick and a trap. It is ridiculous. I don't care that maybe he can technically afford that. Who wants to spend $3 million a year taking care of a woman that you don't get anything from? The children are adults, so she's not like she's taking care of them. This is a woman that you're not going to get sex from, that you are not going to get femininity from, that you are not going to get any of these things from anymore. This woman is going to move around with your money like she has been when she was married to you. And somehow, some way, that was considered fair. Now, before we get to what the obvious issues are, let me point out the crazy value system, because this is what this woman values. After spending 24 years with this man, this isn't even wealth. I would say she value wealth. She just want the money. She just want an income, because this is not money she gonna flip and do anything with, because if she was savvy like that, she'd actually have money. Dr. Dre been rich for a minute, and she been with him for a minute. She didn't just get with him 5 or 6 years ago. She been with that man 2.5 of the 3 decades that he's been doing his thing. So she was with him at sort of maybe basically the beginning of this journey. If the marriage is irretrievable, unresolvable, you aren't able to make that marriage work, which I don't understand. After 24 years, what's possibly going on that you're not used to in this marriage? Boop for that. So now, this woman just wants spending money, because nobody needs $300,000 a month of just money given to them. It's way different if you're working you got a business, you've got, endeavors that generate that type of money. That's different. That's your money. You generating it. You working. You got business deals going. You have businesses that are, creating and generating that income. That's different. This is just money a man is giving to you just because you've been with him, and now all of a sudden you ain't with him. And so, but he still got to pay for a lifestyle so that you don't have to go down in your lifestyle. That's a personal problem. That's why I like when in Islam, you get 3 months of alimony. You get 3. So, and you get that time according to how you've been living with your husband. So if this were that type of situation under them rules, she would get that $300,000 for 3 months. Then after that is her problem. That man no longer is responsible for you. And this is a perfect time to talk about, excuse me for a minute, y'all, a little snafu. This is the perfect time to deal with this. The first thing I want to point out, the first thing other people will point out is a toll. I'm going to point out threat. Because she enacted the threat. After 24 years, she enacted the threat. And you can't tell me that she hadn't been letting him know that she never took them threats off the table for all that time in the first place. Okay? The inherent threat, if we read it, it says most men understand because of current biological, cultural, and environmental circumstances, all women in today's society pose a potential threat as well as an automatic threat to him, whether they intend to or not. So the automatic threat is a judge somewhere figuring that this woman needs $300,000 a month just so she won't feel poor. If she ain't had enough sense in all of that time living and being and sleeping with and dealing with and talking to a mogul, and she has not learned not one of them lessons on how to make no money, not one of them lessons on how to accumulate wealth, she ain't learned not one of them lessons. She ain't picked up a business of her own that her husband had invested in and backed up and stuff like that. And, and that's how she generate her income. So in her own right, she becomes at least a millionaire. Okay. So what has she been doing this whole entire time? Being nothing but a threat and causing a bunch of trouble. That is what she has been doing. Because if she wasn't a bunch of threat and trouble, then this divorce probably wouldn't be going on at all. And if it had to go on, she would do so amicably, and she is not. She's extracting a heavy toll now from Dre. And this is why this vetting process is so incredibly important. And this is why it's important to understand the level of threat that a gynocrat is always gonna present, because she's never gonna take those threats off the table. I don't care how long you with her. She's never gonna say, oh baby, I would never pull these types of triggers on you. If the marriage is for some reason, whatever reason, has to end after for as long as we've been together, then I'll just take my little stuff and go. And you know, the thing about that is, if you were a feminine woman, if she was a feminine woman, she would leave amicably and Dre would probably give her. See, this is what hyenas miss. A man will actually give you, especially if the marriage is ending not just on these horrible terms where we hate each other and just kind of dissolve or whatever for whatever reason, but we not really hating each other and I'm not trying to ruin you on my way out. Then a lot of times a man would be like, okay, I'm extra wealthy. It's difficult for him to turn the enemy switch on, that you're my enemy now. I've been with you too long. Here, let me cut you a check. This is not even a tenth of my wealth. Let me cut you a check that I know you can live on. Because I would hate to just see you in the street. So here you go. I'm going to cut this check. Here you go. You can have, I got 5 homes. You always like the one in upstate New York. Let me give you that one. I'll give you that one. It's paid off anyway. All you got to do is pay the property taxes. Here you go. And you ain't even got to beat a man over the head in court for all of that. If you are able to at least have some grace and femininity and some mercy when the marriage no longer can survive. You leave that man in peace, not in pieces. And then these goofy people on the article talking about, well, he can afford it. It's not about what you can afford. It's about how goofy is this. Those caveats that was put into that order until she get into another partnership, domestic partnership, or she get married. That woman is never getting married in order to keep that money again. The only time she'll ever do that, get married again, is the next man will have to be exponentially more wealthy than Dre. He would have to be a billionaire for her to do any of that. Other than that, she's not jeopardizing that check. Would you? If you was a hyena with filthy back feet, would you jeopardize it? Of course not. You would continue to be, you would get dibble and dabble in little relationships like, yeah, but you ain't never gonna, whatever that, you know what I'm saying, domestic partnership ruling and regulation is, you're gonna always make sure to fall just short of that so that it can never be triggered where Dre doesn't have to pay. These are the threats that women have on the table, and that a hyena and a gynocrat at any moment would pull the trigger for. These are the types of things. It doesn't matter about what can be technically afforded. Like one of them little tweets said, if I don't rock with you no more, $3 is too much. Just because I get it. And you know what? It actually shows a devaluing of men and their accomplishments and what he has done to accumulate that wealth. He was the one that entered into these business deals, started these labels, you know what I'm saying, produced this music, you know, started the company Beats by Dre, all of these sorts of things. He accumulated that wealth. Because if she had an equal contribution into it, that would have been the argument. Like, wait, I've been with you. Not only have I just been with you for 24 years, a lot of this stuff was my brainchild. We entered into that business together. We started that jointly. She ain't did nothing but sit on her butt and buy Birkin bags and Kristen Louboutin shoes and try to flex with his money. That's all she has done. And now she figure, you know what I'm saying, since she birthed out them 2 grown kids and all that kind of stuff, that he owe her for the rest of her life. When if you was that, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be after the bag, you should have stayed with the man. Mean to tell me after 24 years you found some new epiphany about why you don't want to be married to him no more? Knock it off. That's lies and cap. Trick and a trap. Lies and caps, tricks and traps. That's all it is. And you got these women out here that think that they can pull that off to every man. This is why the solution really is this. The vetting process. If a woman was never worth your time, she will never be worth your toll. And if she's not worth the time and toll, it's no reason for any man to even be looking at the trouble. And then he completely bypasses the threat because he's not dealing with it. And for women who are feminine women, who are red pill women, we are always making sure that we are worthy. That we are worthy of time, worthy of toll, that our trouble is little and our threat is none. That's what we're making sure of. We're at all times striving for that worthiness, that level of worthiness at all times. So here's my question on the table that I want people to answer for me in the chat, in the comment section. My question is this, basically. You know, I always got my notes. My question is this. Does it matter if a man can afford the alimony or not? Is there ever a such thing as an exorbitant amount regardless of that the level of that man's wealth? Why can't we be reasonable about alimony? I'm not completely against alimony because, again, Islam has a provision like that. there, but it has rules and regulations. It's very set. And, you know, there are very few exceptions to when those rules and regulations actually don't apply. Very few and far between situations. But for the most part, it's 3 months and then that woman is on her own. You got to find your way. Because that man is no longer receiving the benefit of you, you can no longer receive the benefit of him. And that's the true unfairness. She's receiving the benefit of him without being required to reciprocate anything to him. And that's where the unfairness comes in at. That's where the tragedy is at. Because she gets to usurp his provision, which actually turns into problem solving because that $300,000 a month solves her money problems. So she gets to take advantage of at least 2 of the P's without giving him anything in return. She ain't got to talk to him. She ain't even got to talk to him. She ain't got to answer no phone call, no text message, no smoke screen, no message in the bottle. She don't have to do nothing with him no more. She don't owe him no sex. She don't owe him no time. She don't owe him anything. She doesn't owe him anything out of her female nature. She doesn't owe him her insight anymore. She doesn't owe him her beauty anymore. She doesn't owe him her fertility anymore. She doesn't owe him her submission anymore. She doesn't owe him these things anymore because they're no longer together. Yet she's able to reap a benefit from him until she dies. If those other qualifications are not met. That's the true unfairness of it all. That's how you know we living in a gynocratic society. That's how you know we living in a backward society. That's how you know we living in a demonic society, because that's nothing but chaos. That's nothing but absolute foolishness. That's foolishness. No man should have to pay alimony for any woman for the rest of her life, and he ain't with her and he's not drawing any benefit from her. How is that fair? It's not fair. So again, the question on the table is, does it matter if a man's wealth allows him to pay high amounts of alimony? Should he have to pay it? And for how long should he have to pay it? And ladies, you got to if you looked at this and didn't find a problem, then you need to reevaluate your life based upon the 10 life values. Because you obviously are operating on a backwards value system. You obviously are operating within this gynocentric society that says that the only thing you need in this world is wealth, and you can get that by hook or by crook. And it doesn't matter what man you ruin and drag through the mud. If the 24 years meant anything and it meant that she was owed $300,000 a month, then them same 24 years that she was with him should mean that she shouldn't be trying to ruin that man. There should be at least some mutual respect of the time. But like I told you before, these chaotic hyenas do not value time, not even their own, because she spent them same 24 years he did, and she still don't value the time. So I advise women to reevaluate yourself according to the 10 life values, and don't be paying attention to how these other women move, because first of all, it's wrong. And second of all, if you're going to be a feminine, red pill woman, these are not the moves that you need to be making. You don't need to be looking to see how you can get a man, get a bag, and then ruin him on the way out after you absconded with the bag. So do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Sound off in the comments for me. Once again, I am your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites. Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below.
Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.